three of these characters share one thing that puts them ahead of everybody else. They can destroy weapons.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries. Welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith for day 4. Day 4. Thank you, Pharaoh. My name is Barbara. You already know Pharaoh. And today we're going to be taking a look at the most controversial, bizarre, interesting, I think, inclusions to the Mortal Kombat universe, Leatherface. I don't think anybody was expecting Leatherface to show up in this game, but he does, and here we are.
Good old Bubba Sawyer.
Yep. Let's read his bio real quick. The Sawyer clan of Newt, Texas was unusual for sure, and they weren't always the nicest. So it came as no surprise when Leatherface's brothers told him he couldn't come home again unless he brought back the best chili meat he could find. But how would Leatherface know it was the best unless he tried everything? He took his chainsaw and his favorite masks and headed off. Leatherface ended up in a lot of strange places. Not long ago, he walked through a glowing, spinning purple doorway and found himself in a crazy city called Zonkera or something. There is now plenty of strange meat to try. So far, Katin was his favorite. So yeah, Leatherface just gets sent out to look for the best chili meat and ends up in Outworld and has eaten Devora's race. Well, one of Devora's race anyways.
That's curious. He likes bug meat. That's curious.
Indeed. Now, Leatherface...
Although aren't the Kitten, like, bug-possessed human corpses?
That was one headcanon, but what it really is that it's basically if a beehive was a person. Anywho, Leatherface is interesting because, well, he doesn't have a standard kit. Well, he has a standard kit, but unlike the other guest characters, he changes probably the most dramatically from one variation to the next in what he does.
Gotcha.
Especially in appearance, because this is Killer, Butcher, and Pretty Lady. We're going to start with...
I'll do them a little slower so I can see each variation.
Yeah, Pretty Lady, Killer, and Butcher.
Alright, I think Butcher is meant to be from the 2003 remake.
That's exactly right. That was exactly what they were aiming for as a reference. This is classic.
And the other two are from the original.
Yep. We'll start with Pretty Lady because this is kind of the most... Actually, no, we'll start with Killer because the main gimmick for Killer Leatherface is just one stance, but that one stance is absurd. It's a combo so complex I don't think I'll be able to pull it off, but it lasts like 20 seconds, and I've shown it to you before. It's a little bit nutty. So who...
Well, they said his favorite meat is chitin, so...
So we got Devora, or Devora.
I think Devora.
So just normal Devora?
Yeah.
Let's do variation less. We don't. And there isn't really a spot that fits Leatherface per se, so let's just shove him in the training room. Oh wait, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, well, there could be one of them, but no. Okay, we'll do the training room.
Yeah. What was the stage? I could go back and do that real quick.
It's fine. I was gonna suggest the desert because Texas.
Oh, well, I'll do that. I'll do that. The desert. Ah, yes, the Outworld Marketplace.
Yeah.
This is where Blanche lives.
Blanche.
The old lady in the marketplace was affectionately named Blanche by the developers. I believe it's a Golden Girls reference, which is kind of funny because, look, I even got an achievement. Blanche Advantage.
Blanche Advantage.
Ah, yes. Anyways, so, enough of that. Let's talk about what Leatherface brings to the table. Leatherface, as you can imagine, when it comes to normal stuff, he just doesn't really have a lot of, like, normal moves. It's just big Like, his kicks are all big boots. He never does roundhouses or anything weird like that. He's not like Freddy, where he just pulls a roundhouse kick out of left field, you know?
Yeah. I do, and like with Jason, I think it's pretty weird they give him that many kicks at all.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, it's because everybody has to have a kick, right? So, Leatherface, you'll notice his walking speed is very slow, but he runs really fast.
That's different.
Yeah, Leatherface is...
I mean, Leather hauls ass, but he doesn't haul ass that fast.
Indeed not. And you'll notice, too, Leatherface also tends to uses his chainsaw in a lot of normals.
Does he have his meat mallet?
Only in one of the variations. And in one of his fatalities. But
this isn't this specific to Leatherface. That's the problem with all the characters. That's why I don't really like the variations.
Yeah, that's a common complaint where it's like, hey, you know, you could make a more complete character instead of splitting up the kit across.
Yeah.
That.
That's why I like how they handled it in NK11.
Yeah. I hear that, but that's because customization is fun. Also, I love how much the apron moves. So...
Yeah, the cloth physics on that apron is amazing.
Yep. So, his normal strings, there's not that many. Insane Killer, Saw is Family, Peel That Pig, Make Them Stop, Shocking Truth, Manslaughter, Hookin' and Crookin', Dog Will Hunt. I don't recognize that one. Bizarre...
That is a quote from one of the movies.
Okay. Bizarre Crimes, and Pleasure in Killing. So he doesn't have a whole lot of strings, and it's like, you've got a fairly quick launcher, you've got an overhead that goes into a low, you've got a slower overhead launcher, you've got a really fast string that ends in that. None of his strings actually feature any kicks, which is interesting, but that makes sense. You have this, you have that, there's the native mix-up, and all that good stuff.
The quote Dog Will Hunt is from Texas Chainsaw Part 2. The character, I think, is Chop Top, says it.
Oh, I see.
Because he breaks into a radio station with someone who's looking into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he's talking about his brother Bubba. He's like, Dog Will Hunt.
Ah, fun. Well, here's where it also gets fun. Here's his throat.
Get some of the brutality from the 3 reboot in there.
Yeah. Also worth noting is that, this is a brutality, and it's exactly what you would expect.
Is it a decap?
It is a decapitation, yeah. Now, his universal moves, or at the very least his variationless moves, are all here as well. Are all here in a various capacity. Like I said, the only thing that changes in this variation from variationless is Berserker Stance, but Berserker Stance is insane. So first off, we have Psycho Cutter, which is an overhead that acts as a nice combo ender, especially when meter burn.
Is it a brutality?
No brutality on this one. Then we have Spinning Saw, which is just a mid, nothing too crazy on its own. But on meter burn, pops up for a combo. So you can do something like a quick punish, spend the meter, and then end it with something for some damage. Then we have High Saw, which is normally an anti-air, right? On meter burn, though, it's super fast, does more damage, and has crazy launch potential. Hold on. It's a little tricky to time it on PC, but as you can see, the damage gets really nutty with High Saw. Then there's Chain Sparks, which throws up a bunch of sparks from the ground and acts as a stun. So it has a lot of combo scaling, but it's a combo extender that also restands. It's pretty potent. And then we have Low Saw. Sorry?
I said, okay.
And then if you meter burn it, he can advance on it. Or cancel it. As you can see. And then we have Low Saw, which is an advancing low, which covers a lot of ground. It's also armored on meter burn and knocks down. So knock him down, run in, enforce your mix-up. And enforce your mix-up you can because of Berserker Stance. Fuck, we're gonna lose the audio again. Shit. Oh, no, we didn't this time. Yay, it was fast enough.
Hey.
Anyways, so Berserker Stance is just a stance, you know, revs his chainsaw, ready to go. When he activates it, the chainsaw actually stops projectiles when he activates it. So before he revs it, it stops the projectile, which is really handy for a character that doesn't have a projectile in most variations, like Leatherface does. When you press 1, which is square or X, it's beyond full screen when he runs at you. In fact, if I were to time this right, I have to do player 2. There we go. Set this up. Okay, here we go. See how far he runs?
Yeah.
Which means you can't backdash from this thing. You're in trouble otherwise. Then he has, let's see, the moves are Running Frenzy, Psycho Rush, and No Escape. So No Escape is a really fast overhead out of the stance. Like, that's me doing it at the fastest possible speed. Borderline unreactable. And then he has Psycho Rush, which doesn't go as far, and it's a lot slower. But it's unblockable.
Wow.
And you can cancel it. You know, scare the opponent into eating an unblockable. And of course, you can meter burn it. You can meter burn this, which in the corner is kind of nutty. And then, if you meter burn the run, you get a combo. So, I'll make this a quick one, just to show the potential here. Yeah, that was with 1 bar, and I can keep going. It's possible to get up to 60% damage on a reset. And then if you panic, 47 into 22, baby. I can't believe I actually got that on PC. That's incredible. So that's Killer Leatherface in a nutshell. Pharaoh is,
Yeah, I'm here.
Pharaoh's just recovering from the shock of what he just saw. But then we have Butcher Leatherface, the 2003 Leatherface, which has his mallet, which means a lot of moves use the mallet instead of the chainsaw, making them faster, but do less damage. Which kind of makes sense. But he gets
a little strange, because in the original movie, the first thing we ever see Leatherface use is the mallet.
Yeah. But the mallet is here, and it's in a variation, and this is probably the most popular, this is the second most popular Leatherface variation. So we have Torturous Ways, which is a low, which can also be Spilling Blood, which is a launcher. This variation of Leatherface, in one combo, can hit you with 6 separate launchers and stuns for a single combo. It's absurd. Massacre, Last Chance, which does not have the mix, but remember, it comes off of this really fast standing too. Then there's, oh wait, Gore was not needed. Then there's Terror. Which is just a big long string that hurts like hell. This variation has basically entirely brand new moves, except for Psycho Cutter, Chain Sparks, and Low Saw. He has Gut Slice, Mallet Strike, Skull Smash, and Bloodbath. Gut Slice replaces the spin, and it just does raw damage. And if you meter burn it, no brutality off of this one. Nor is there no brutality off of Bloodbath. Which is a lot. Then you have Mallet Strike, which unlike the Predator's Pounce does not have controllable range. On meter burn it launches, and then you have Skull Smash, which is a command grab, a really fast command grab.
That's like the first time we see Leatherface.
Yep. And then we have the meter burn version of Skull Smash, which is what's it called? Which is called Skull Fracture. And this move has a nice distinction in that when the opponent hits the ground, that 2% is always 2%. It does not scale. So if you do a really long combo, hold on. That 2% is guaranteed. So Skull Smash is probably your best ender just for really long combos, just because of that guaranteed extra damage. Several command grabs have that property, and it's one of the rarest things that is talked about in Mortal Kombat X. Now we come to Pretty Lady, which has
all dressed up for dinner.
Yep. Which fun fact, I learned this recently because hello, transgender person. Leatherface is actually seen as a transgender icon in at least among older transgender circles.
I never realized that.
It's pretty
Never
cool.
heard that.
Pretty cool though. Anyways, Saw Toss. The whole point of this variation is to be like Freddy Krueger and just throw shit.
Yeah.
So it's basically basic Leatherface with projectile chainsaws.
And yet they don't give him the chainsaw dance.
Well, we'll see. Also, the up saw toss can be used to extend combos. So that's fun. Yeah, that's Leatherface in a nutshell when it comes to moves. But unlike last time, I'm not going to wait until we get into the Tower for Fatalities. We're just going to jump right in.
Leatherface.
We'll do variationless Leatherface for this one, because we're never going to see this thing. Who are we going to chop up?
You know, we glorified Predator last time. Let's see how Predator meat tastes in that chili.
Alright, so let's do Player 2 Predator maskless. And, yeah, we'll just do the Cove. Or actually, we'll just go by random. The Refugee Camp. Okay, then. So, we won't be able to see his normal outro from the Fatality practice, but I will make sure to show it off, because it's fun. So first off, we have Seeing Double. It says it's close, but look at all the real estate you have to work with here. The Tongue Woggle. I think that's the weakest Fatality we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying of the ones we've seen so far, this one's probably the weakest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that all depends on how Alien fares. Then we have Hook and Sinker, which I think is way better.
Leatherface wins. Fatality.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Is that a specific reference, or just
I
an in-character thing?
think it's just a quantification of Leatherface's MO in the first movie. Because the first thing we see him do is hit a guy in the head with a hammer. But then he comes after someone else. He doesn't hit them with the mallet, but he picks them up and carries them over to a hook and puts them on it. Then he starts carving up the first person he got to with a chainsaw.
Ah, so it's like a blend of that whole first scene in one move.
Yeah, first few scenes. It's a couple.
I assume you would like Butcher Leatherface, just because of the mallet?
Not really, because it's 2003 Leatherface, and I don't really like that Leatherface.
Okay, so which one of the other two would you like then?
Killer.
Alright, Killer Leatherface. Kano is showing up in a lot of these towers. I think he knows that I don't like him very much.
Alright, so, the lore of Leatherface.
Yes.
Picked the wrong day, sport.
So, there is not a lot to say about Leatherface's origins. He was born to the Sawyer clan in Texas, hence the name Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He was born with some sort of physical deformity and a mental disability, which his family tends to use to exploit him and turn him into their family butcher. That's kind of the thing. He's one of the more tragic slasher villains in that case, as he is actually more afraid of the people he's killing than he is being ruthless and aggressive. And the entire reason he kills those first two people is because they basically go into his house and scare him.
So he thinks they're robbers or something.
Well, yeah, it's not really clear what he thinks. He just knows that there's strangers in his house and it scares him, so he reacts the way he's been taught to kill. Yeah, Leatherface, as you can see, and hence the name, he has a habit of taking people's skins and turning them into masks. Ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what is more worthy to say about Leatherface is the impact the original movie had, which I think can't really be understated. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably one of the most biggest contributors to the free slasher genre there's ever been.
Your weapon is loud and useless. Screw you, Boraicho. Anywho, yeah, that is the thing, right? Because it is the first quote-unquote slasher flick, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of yes, but also kind of no. It's also like the movie Black Christmas. I think that's what it is. About the sorority house that is someone that has a home invader in it.
Okay.
Both that and Texas Chainsaw came out before Halloween, which is credited usually as the first and original slasher. And I think that what they usually mean by that is that Halloween is what is considered the original Halloween is considered like the formula for what is an actual proper slasher flick. Because even Texas Chainsaw isn't really a slasher film, it's more like a descent into madness. Because it's not really as bloody as people think it is.
Noted.
Despite what the name would imply, it's not necessarily that bloody, it's more just insane. Because as much as Leatherface is the poster boy for the franchise, what makes the movie more terrifying isn't strictly him, it's his family, who are the more malicious psychopaths.
Yeah.
And cannibals. Because let's not forget, these are redneck cannibals.
Yep. By the way, did you like his X-ray attack?
I do.
Horrifying.
Yeah. So Leatherface has gone by many names over his storied career. He's gone by Bubba, Leather, Jedediah, and I think there's one more. Thomas. I think in the reboot he was known as Thomas.
The first reboot, or
2003 reboot. There's really... And now that leads me to the thing, despite having some of the fewest movies of the slasher quote-unquote icons, he's got one of those complicated timelines. Which I really won't go into because that's worthy of a video on its own, the timelines of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But just know that in all of them, Leatherface is a big guy, he's a cannibal, he's a guy with a chainsaw, and most of the time he's presented as more of a cornered animal than an aggressive killer like Jason. The 2003 reboot kind of steps away from this and makes Leatherface more aggressive and sadistic, which is part of why I don't really like it.
And this brings you to the potential gripe.
Kind of. Yeah, I'll get to that. But yeah, so the 2003 movies, while they are considered some of the better horror reboots, I don't really like them because they make Leatherface more aggressive, more of a hunter, more of a apex predator like Jason, and less like the cornered animal he usually is.
Yeah.
Also, I thought the chainsaw was floating.
It was just gravity was being funky.
Okay, so they're giving Leather his head pats.
Yeah.
Like his palmate, the thing he does to try to calm himself after hitting the guy in the head with a mallet.
Yeah. This is one of 3 brutality poses that he actually has in the game. He has one with the chainsaw that we saw. He has that one if his chainsaw is off of him, like with the pretty lady brutality and the X-ray brutality. And he has another one which I think is probably the most horrific brutality in the game, and that's in Butcher with his hammer. And you actually see it in the trailer. You actually saw it in the trailer of this series.
Gotcha.
Is the one where he just ruthlessly beats the snot out of Total Khan.
Got ya. That actually reminds me that brutality of the newest Texas Chainsaw movie, which isn't good? Question mark? It's rough. It's a rough movie. It's fun if you don't go in expecting anything great, which if you're watching a Texas Chainsaw sequel, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
While the original is a classic and a really good movie worth watching, even though it's horrifying just because of how it presents itself, the sequels aren't really that great. Texas Chainsaw 2, the original sequel, it's kind of good. It's kind of enjoyable. It's a very different movie. It leans more into it's more of a meta comedy, which is weird because it came out way before Scream, which popularized the horror comedy thing.
It's just zooming.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's Leatherface. He's an interesting bloke.
Yeah. But yeah, the newest movie, like I said, it's not anything great. It's a little hit or miss at places. I think it's got some of the best kill scenes of the franchise, but there's several moments where Leatherface acts not like Leatherface.
Noted.
He plans things out, he's strategic, he acts more aggressive in places. I think it's a movie that it tried to do some new things and it somewhat succeeded, but it didn't do super duper well. I think it's the kind of movie you have to turn your brain off while watching and just enjoy the gore, enjoy the kills.
Yeah.
I will say, there is one scene in the new movie that is 100% worth watching, even if you just watch it on its own. And it's the scene where Leatherface gets on a bus with a lot of, millennials, for lack of a better term.
Oh, I see. Yes, the stereotypical... I saw that in a trailer, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the most infamous scenes from the trailer, where Leatherface gets on the bus, he has his chainsaw out, and they all pull out cell phones and start streaming. And one of them says, "Try anything and you're canceled, bro." It's a stupid line. It's a stupid fucking line. But the scene that follows is probably one of the most legitimately horrific scenes in any slasher movie that I've seen.
I'm guessing he just goes on the killing spree.
Oh, yeah. And, normally you would be in one of those scenes where you think while they're filming it, they're trying to get you to be like, "Oh, yeah, this is the bloodiest scene. This is the scene that you want to watch. This is the scene that you're here for." But they film it in such a horrific way. It's like, God damn. They actually make you feel bad for everyone on the bus.
Not to mention that was clearly an executive's gag about millennials.
Yeah. Or something. There's probably something. Because the entire movie, like the main characters of the movie are apparently influencers who are trying to turn this old ghost town into a like safe haven for people like them.
Oh, well, here you go.
Oh, there's the chainsaw dance.
Yes. Whee! That had to have been scary for the dude swinging the fucking chainsaw around.
I don't think the chainsaw was actually on when he was doing it.
Okay, well, at least the worst thing he could have done is, like, sprained his shoulder or beamed himself upside the head.
I could be completely wrong because the set of the original Texas Chainsaw is crazy. But I don't think the chainsaw was actually on when he was waving it around.
Oh, hey! Back for round 2, Kodal? In the same costume and variation and everything. That's just hilarious. Fuck! There we go. Oh.
Did we lose it?
Well, lost it on my end, but I can see the level, so it's actually still playing.
Well, I mean, did we lose the video?
I don't think so. That's the reason why we lost the video the last time. The Predator video got a little bit messy. We might have actually shot it by then. Was we were trying to fix the audio levels because Mortal Kombat X had gone mute, and I left it on the audio channel instead of having the video channel on its own, like an idiot. So, oh well, like a stupid bitch, but we all make mistakes.
It happens.
We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
But yeah, the bus massacre scene is probably the best scene of that entire movie. Because it is the first time I think we actually see Leatherface on a chainsaw rampage.
It seems really weird for a series go. God damn it! I don't know why this keeps happening. I bought a new cable and everything so that it would actually stay connected, but whatever.
Right.
Okay, whatever. Kodal Khan, do you want me to string him up or do you want me to just cut him to pieces?
Let's just cut him to pieces.
He's probably not good eating. Oh, now the audio has failed on OBS. Oh well.
Oh, here. Is the video still going?
As far as I can tell, yeah. I will be sure to verify shortly. But I mean, it's not a big deal. We're not here to listen to Mortal Kombat X. We're here to geek out about horror monsters. And look at this. This is the matchup nobody ever expected to have happen, and yet is totally possible.
Yeah, Predator versus Leatherface.
Oh, hey, it's the Predator from last time. Crap. I have to kill Hunter Predator. Oh, man.
We have to stop him before he learns sorcery.
Yes! We sent Leatherface back in time to try and stop the Predator.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think while Texas Chainsaw Massacre may be one of the best individual movies that a lot of the slasher characters get, I think his franchise has some of the biggest duds.
Even bigger duds than Freddy's, it sounds like.
Yeah. But a lot of slasher sequels are terrible. Even my boy Michael Myers has a lot of duds under his belt.
And the single messiest timeline I've ever heard on the face of the earth.
Oh no, Leatherface's timeline is way more complicated than Michael Myers, and he has less movies to work with.
Oh no.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like, despite having some of the fewest movies of any of the big slasher icons, he has one of the most convoluted timelines.
That is almost impressive.
Yeah, Michael Myers' timeline. Like Michael's timelines kind of make sense when you have them laid out. Leatherface's are fucking bonkers. And the new movie makes it no less clear.
Well, that's rather unfortunate. Also, now there's a dead Predator.
Yeah.
We stopped her from learning sorcery. We saved the timeline.
Yep, and now to see if he makes good chili.
Well, almost. We have to kill Sonya, Goro, and Shinnok first, but he's somewhere right now.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look. It's Cold War Sonya. I forgot this was a skin pack. Don't ask me why they put Sonya in a Cold War pack, but
Who knows?
I mean, I know why they did it for Scorpion. There was a fan art that Ed Boon really liked that he found on Tumblr of all places, because Mortal Kombat briefly had a Tumblr presence thanks to the Mortal Kombat Collective, where you would put cosplay and stuff, and that art, I think, won an art contest. So it became a skin in the game, but not part of the skin pack, I don't think. Because it was Sub-Zero, Kano, and Sonya that got the skin, and then I think they added the Cold War Scorpion skin as either an unlock or just like a bonus thing from an update. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. Ma'am, you shouldn't wake up into chainsaws.
Yeah. I don't really have a lot of to say about Leatherface as a character, mostly because I feel like his original movie stands on its own and is absolutely worth watching, but it's like his franchise is so messy, it's like there's not really a good place to start or end with him.
Yeah, it's weird, because obviously you would recommend watching the first one. Would you recommend watching the second one?
Yeah, I'd recommend Texas Chainsaw 2. It's a lot more goofy, but I think it's goofy in a good way.
Like you said, you're comparing it to Scream.
Yeah, well, Scream is less goofy, it's just more meta. It acknowledges slasher films exist. Texas Chainsaw 2 is just weird. It's very weird, but I think it works. It's a very different movie to the original, but I think that's kind of a good thing. I mean, the poster for the movie was like a Family Matters style poster with the Sawyer clan.
Huh. Weird.
Texas Chainsaws 3 and 4 are only watch them if you really want to. I mean, 4 has Matthew McConaughey in it.
In a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie?
Yeah, he plays one of the cannibals in Texas Chainsaw 4, and he has a hydraulic pumped leg brace.
That is weird.
It's very weird. Then there's Texas Chainsaw 3, which is one of the most forgettable titles. Then you got the 2003 reboot and its prequel. Meh. Watch them if you want.
You don't have to.
Yeah. There's Texas Chainsaw 3D, which I think has one of the most interesting ideas for a Texas Chainsaw sequel, even if the execution is very sloppy.
What was that?
It's a TLDR, a woman finds out she's descended from the Sawyer clan. This is a direct sequel to the first movie. And she finds out she's a descendant of the Sawyer clan who managed to escape because one of the murder posse that showed up to wipe out the Sawyer clan after the events of the first movie smuggled her out as a baby. And she's inherited a mansion, estate from one of the other members of the family who's recently passed away. And turns out Leatherface is living there.
Huh. Weird.
And the character essentially becomes Leatherface's new caretaker. Like I said, it has a very interesting horror movie idea where we see the final girl actually join the slasher villain.
But it didn't get pulled off as well as it could have been.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of sloppy execution there. Then that movie got its own prequel, which takes place before the first movie. And it's neat, I guess? Question mark? It's a weird one. That one's just called Leatherface. And we're back. We're back where we were.
Pretty much. We were back to this nonsense. So, the content warning in 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What was it?
Yeah, so trigger warning for the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There are a couple of scenes where school shootings are mentioned, as one of the characters is the survivor of one.
Mentioned, not shown, right?
Well, they're not shown, but the aftermath is shown. It's a scene where there's a bunch of bodies laying on the ground. So trigger warning, just be forewarned if that kind of stuff bothers you, maybe just skip Texas Chainsaw 2022.
Yeah. I mean, not like you're gonna be missing much anyways, right?
Yeah, it's a meh movie overall, hit or miss. So if that kind of content bothers you, just give this one a skip. I will say that it is handled pretty respectfully as far as things go, but yeah, if that kind of content does bother you, just don't watch it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Ouch. You evil Care Bear. Stop it!
Evil Care Bear.
The fact that he's constantly, like, throwing, like, flaming naval blasts at me. Look at that! Look at that shit!
Oh my god. You're not wrong. I hate that you're not wrong.
I way too much. Yeah, I'm dead. I'm dead. Well, at least we get to see his. At least we get to see his outro.
Well, at least this is fairly realistic for how this fight would go down.
Yep.
Shinnok wins.
Yeah.
It's just yeet. He just throws his head away. Like,
Leatherface would get mollywopped by anyone in MK.
well, especially if one of them is a god turned into a corrupted human monster.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, I can see an argument for it because Jason's fucking ridiculous.
Well, Jason's big and strong, and he gets
Yeah. Freddy, sure, he's a dreamer, and he's got powers.
yeah, at least like fuck, I died again.
I think we need to give Leatherface a pep talk. I think he's heard us that he doesn't belong here.
It's okay. Thanks for giving Leatherface, buddy. You got the most unique, wonderful, fantastic weapon for a gore game like this. Use it. Because I mean,
You
the
got
fact,
a unique weapon at least until Doom God gets added eventually.
yeah.
Because hot damn, that guy needs to get more combat. With his own stage and music track.
Which would make sense because the last time we had a character that had his own stage,
Yeah. And the music track needs to be at Doomsday.
Indeed. Oh no! Chainsaw Spin! Chainsaw Spin, save me! Yes! We won with part of the...
Nail with a chainsaw.
We won with part of the chainsaw dance! Woo! Oh. Please reconnect the controller.
The controller just had to get one more in.
Yep, but that's okay. You might not be able to hear the audio unless you can, but here we go. This is
Leatherface had cut down the old man in the strange outfit. Maybe now that he was dead, the pretty yellow-haired gum-chewing girl would notice Leatherface. Putting on his fanciest mask, Leatherface found the army camp where the pretty girl could be found most days. He had to cut through a few guards and more than a few of her friends to get to her, but it was worth it. He pulled out the old man's face, which he'd saved for the girl as a present. The girl didn't want the present, and she wasn't being nice. So Leatherface chopped her into tiny pieces for Drayton to use in his chili. He then took off his mask and set to work on the girl's face. If she wasn't going to be his girlfriend, she could be his in other ways.
Yeah, that's Leatherface's ending. Cassie Cage gets turned into a fucking leather mask. So, does that gripe of yours still stand?
Alright, so first of all, how well does Leatherface fit into the world of Mortal Kombat?
With cowboys and ninjas and sorcerers and gods?
A cannibal butcher, I feel like, does fit. So, I think it's a pretty easy 8 or 9 out of 10 for Leatherface fitting into the world. Fine.
Interesting. I was expecting
in terms
lower.
Of him fitting in terms of him fitting into the world, sure. I can see there being a cannibal butcher with a chainsaw in the world of Mortal Kombat. That doesn't seem too far-fetched to me. Now, as for how Leatherface was implemented, this is a toughie. Obviously, it's hard to do a cornered animal type character in a fighting game.
Indeed.
They did make him very aggressive and brutal. They came up with a half-decent reason for him to be traveling the world of Mortal Kombat.
As half-decent as you can get, really.
Yeah, he's looking for chili meat. Leatherface's implementation, I'm gonna give 3 bowls of chili out of 5.
Tied with Freddy Krueger. I kind of dig that.
Yeah. Not the best implementation, not the worst.
Could certainly be worse. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen worse in his movies, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So that's Leatherface.
You just gotta watch the Matthew McConaughey one to see how bad it can get.
Indeed. And now, well, tomorrow, we take a look at the final Mortal Kombat X character, the most infamous guest character, and probably one of the craziest critters in the whole thing.
And probably one of my favorite characters.
Absolutely. Don't forget to be awesome, and we'll see you guys on the other side.